Cowardice is the problem. The world is full of cowards. We suffer from a pandemic of cowardice. We've never suffered from any other pandemic the last 3 years. People are absolutely and utterly cowards, and they do to me what they did to me to scare people.
Most of you struggle with the basic tenet of dedication and motivation and concentration. You have TikTok brain. Your mind has been assassinated by the algorithms. You sit there scrolling. This is the average person's life. TikTok. You have TikTok mind. Your mind is freaking attacked. It's been fried like a fried egg. And that's why you can't dedicate yourself to anything. So if I can force you to dedicate yourself, imagine I forced you. Imagine you're in bed and Top G walks into your room, grabs you by your hair, looks you dead in the eye, and tells you you're a fucking failure.
There's no such thing as too much masculinity if it's genuinely masculine. Genuine masculinity is not out here to hurt people. It's absolutely the opposite. It's out here to protect. And when bad things happen, they call traditionally masculine men. If you need a firefighter, you need a masculine man. When you call the police because of the problem you had, you want masculine men. And as soon as a woman or a man is in trouble, when you look for backup, you look for masculine men. And masculine men have a duty to provide and protect those they care about. We have a duty to do things we don't feel like doing because we know we're supposed to do them. And that's why we stayed in the Titanic and died.
People sit and say, oh, I'm unhappy or I'm sad. You don't have time. How do you find the time in the day to sit around thinking about being sad? You have shit to do. Like, I don't have time to sit around and contemplate how I feel because I'm busy. So how do you even have time for that? I've had people sit and give me long trotes on how they feel. And I'm like, where did you even come up with this shit? How long have you been sitting around just fucking thinking about nothing? I don't have time for it. A plane defies gravity with speed. That's all it does. If a plane stops moving forward, what happens? It falls down, right? So if you can do the same thing with yourself and your mentality and your problems and everyone else around you, you can outwork everybody. So I've always understood outworking people. And I also think that it's very easy to work hard and win when you're already winning.
Life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about how difficult and how competitive it is as a man. We're always in constant competition with each other. And it's your duty as a man to stand up and say, I want to be as important and strong and good-hearted and God-fearing as possible. And I need to work hard to achieve those things.
As a man, you should always live for something bigger than yourself. I feel like that the true masculine imperative is to find a battle worth fighting for. That's why men have always gone to war, and some men died. That's how it's always been for men. As a man, your life shouldn't be about quantity, it should be about quality. And trying to live as long as possible, but being that porridge goo in the middle is not as important as living a shorter amount of time and getting to be the T-bone steak. So I want people to understand that I believed I was doing the right thing, and I'm not a perfect person, and perhaps I made some mistakes, but I believed I was doing the right thing at the time, and that I don't have any regrets about it, and that I would like people to learn from my example and live true to themselves. And I think that the world can be a beautiful place when you're true to yourself. I really think that a lot of depression and a lot of sadness and a lot of discontentment with consciousness comes from the very simple fact that most men are not true to themselves. And most men are living lives not doing what they want. Please understand. They don't get to talk to the girls they want to talk to because they're not important enough. They don't get to hang around with the guys as often as they want because they have to work a job they don't like doing. They don't get to tell their woman to be quiet because she'll leave him. He doesn't get to tell his boss to go away because he'll get fired. He just sits in his car, quiet and meek, filled with rage. And the best thing about being rich and important, and I guess the truest way to be happy as a man, is to be true to yourself.
God can be proud of you when you do your absolute best. And I don't think many people genuinely do their best in the world anymore. When I say do your best, people sit and go, oh yeah, okay. No, when's the last time you actually did your best? Like, I don't train to run marathons, but I know if I gave my best, I could run a marathon right now, first try. If I gave my best, life depending on it. When's the last time people have genuinely given their best to anything? There are people going through the world and going through life today that don't give their best or 100% effort to anything ever. Ever. They can't remember the last time they tried. So when I'm sitting in a dungeon, or I'm sitting in a Romanian jail cell, I understand that it is a chance that God has given me and my ancestors are watching for me to do my absolute best and to show to them that I am the man I say I am. You can't become the most famous man in the world for mental resilience and God not test your mental resilience. I think that would be a very amateur way to view the world, that you can now become one of the most famous men in the world who talks about mental discipline and mental resilience and God's not going to test it. I think God's going to come along and say, okay, you want to be Mr. Famous. All right, let's see what you have. So I believed it was a chance to show God and show my ancestors and show my father that I am the man I say I am. And it's amazing how much strength you can draw from that, because I don't think many men especially understand that even if you don't have the strength to be a hero for yourself, you should have enough discipline and enough honor to want to be a hero for somebody else.
Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's fucked. Good. Yes. Like, that's just how I am, right? But it's how you adopt, it's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you. So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel and the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems that he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars, because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower.
It's hard to get there. It starts off harder. It's harder to find a way to make money and work all the time and deal with all the bullshit and be at the bottom of whatever industry you're in and not have any reputation, whatever. But if I were to say to all of you right now, for every minute you body spar, you get $1,000. I guarantee we'd still be out there right now sparring. Everyone would be like, all right. So like, once you get to the point, like in my position, where I know if I put the time in, I'm going to win.
You are not stupid. You are lazy, you're entitled, you're arrogant, but you're not actually stupid. I could take you from your little pathetic life and put you down in a chair and make you do the things you're supposed to do, and you could achieve. Last year, during these exact days, you did nothing. New Year's Eve came, you made yourself all these promises, and a week later, you were still a fuck up. Here we are 1 year later, you are still a nobody. The days when losers rest, winners are going to begin to work. You have absolutely nothing else to do. You may as well get a head start so 2024 allows you to live a life worth living, so you don't stay a peasant and a peon any longer.
Cannot quit. You cannot give up. You need that momentum to break free. When a rocket is flying out towards the moon to escape the atmosphere, it doesn't fucking pause halfway up the sky, does it? No, it keeps going. Every single second there are things happening, conversations happening that you're not watching. It could be that one little sentence that changes everything, but it ain't easy. It ain't gonna be given to you on a plate. You're gonna have to work. You're in competition with the entire world. Everyone wants to escape. You cannot be lazy. You are in the place where the money resides. You're there. You're amongst it. You're amongst the people who are going to be the future millionaires and billionaires of Earth. You are finally in the right place at the right time. You are the only person who can make this work, and you're also the only person who can fuck this up. If we were still in the animal kingdom, the lions that you see on TV, they weren't just born big lions. They had to fight other lions. They had to fight to get that antelope. They had to fight other animals, hyenas, jackals. They had to fight to be the boss. We're living in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter, and I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul, and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man, and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're fucking lazy. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become. Wow. God is unhappy with these people. And inside their hearts, they're unhappy. We talk about depression, anxiety, all those things you mentioned earlier on this podcast. That comes from self-loathing. You loathe your own weakness. You loathe your own laziness. This is what all of these things are. I don't feel depression. How can I feel depression when I'm the most powerful version of me that I could ever fucking be? How can I feel depression when I could squeeze my own hand hard enough to break my own bones? How can I feel depression when I've smashed and destroyed 68 people's faces in front of me, men who thought they could test me in fair combat? How can I feel depressed? It's impossible.